excited to get to do another time-lapse diary entry. I had originally had the plan to do a tour of my Hobonichi planners as how I use them as an artist, but man, I got so bored with like editing that video, so I figured, you know, I've got this illustration that I've been working on my iPad for like, I don't know how long now, 2 years I think. I mean, it was sitting in there and I never finished the coloring, even though the line art was the hardest part of the whole illustration. And it's on my iPad, so it was in Procreate, so I'm sorry that the clip is sort of not full screen, and also I don't know why it looks kind of scratchy. It's not very good quality, so it's different from when I record on Clip Studio Paint and I just record the entire screen, so the quality turns out much better. But yeah, I was working on this illustration back in 2024. Actually, this illustration was after I had taken a hiatus from just drawing in general, especially digitally, and sharing my art on Instagram. I took a break from Instagram and TikTok. I was getting really mentally unwell. I was addicted to it, and I felt like I was just following trends and trying to post things just for the likes and the views and the followers, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So I stopped altogether and I stopped drawing, and I was like allowing myself to be bored, and I was trying to get into reading more and got into embroidery. I never did embroidery, but I had the tools for it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into that. And I slowly but surely started to get my spark back for drawing and wanting to work on fun, interesting illustrations, especially regarding my characters. And I was daydreaming a lot about them, and I wanted to have certain scenarios with them. So this became a manifestation of those feelings, and I realized I was feeling really happy with this illustration and the way my art was progressing, because I was looking at it, I was like, wait, am I really drawing this? This looks like I've improved. I was able to kind of get more of the vision I had in my head out, you know, on the canvas. And yeah, it was really like a nice kind of cathartic feeling in a way, come back to digital drawing and come back to my characters and have them be the way I wanted and envisioned it, and feeling better about the improvement my art had made, even though I stopped drawing, which is weird. It's interesting how if you take a break from art and then you come back to it, somehow you've improved. So that always happens to me. I don't know if that's just, I don't know, a weird phenomenon, but yeah, I was experimenting with this. I think that's what it is. I wasn't afraid to experiment. I wasn't afraid to just enjoy and have the pleasure of just drawing and doing this for my own indulgence, right? I wasn't going to post this anywhere. I wasn't going to share it. I just wanted to do it. So I took my time on it, and it was hours and hours of doing it, but I did get kind of tired of looking at it. So once I got to the coloring stage, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of bored. And I did other drawings, and I started going into my sketchbook more. And so yeah, this has been sitting on my iPad for a while, and I figured I would use this for a time-lapse episode because I want to get 2 more videos out before I switch over to Linux, but the planner video, I just really wasn't feeling it, so I'm doing this instead. Yeah, I'm really proud of how this illustration turned out. I finally finished it, and thought I'd share it with you guys. These are characters from my comic Haven Doom, which you could read on Webtoon. It's on hiatus because, like I said, I kind of got burnt out from trying to post so much stuff on reels and shorts. I was making a lot of shorts about my progress of making my comic and doing little behind the scenes stuff, but trying to make it trendy or using viral audio. I've decided I'm no longer going to be doing YouTube shorts or, you know, shorts in general. I haven't posted on Instagram in a while, or TikTok. I'm kind of just wanting to focus more on long form videos and just enjoying my illustrations now. Trying to get back to working on this comic has been a tremendous hurdle. I'm just really not in the mood for it, but I am writing for it. I am daydreaming for it. I am still drawing my characters in scenarios and in my sketchbook, and just, you know, keeping them alive in other ways without working on the actual comic. But yeah, I mean, I started making comics in 2018 on Webtoons. My first one is a superhero sci-fi kind of story called 𝒸𝒽𝒶𝓅𝓉𝓄𝓈. But I was winging it with that one. Like that one, I had a dream and then I just started pulling stuff out of my butt for that one. Each episode was just me winging it and I had no direction. I didn't know where I was going with that story, so I got burnt out very quickly with that. And Haven Doom was sort of the next level of like, hey, I'm kind of feeling a bit more serious about comics and stories and my characters and wanting to bring them to life and stuff. So this comic has been in the works for a while and like it's on hiatus now, but I'm still working on it. Like it's still in progress. It's just the comic itself is on a hiatus. I love working on comics. I love doing this and just bringing my characters to life. I've enjoyed working on Haven Doom in particular like a lot, and I actually had help with the coloring and stuff, so I can definitely get back to it. It's just I'm thinking I'm gonna start small. I'm gonna do some short comics to kind of help me get back into the rhythm of creating comics, because I haven't worked on it for like a year or two, I think. There's a lot of steps to making a comic, and especially if you're working solo, you're the writer and the artist and everything, and it can be like really hard at times to keep up with it. It takes a lot of energy and it's a long project. But lately I've been feeling like I do want to get back to it at some point, especially the more I draw my characters, the more I write about them and daydream about them. This illustration just was kind of a accumulation of different little scenarios I had in my head of the two. It's kind of Kanon event stuff, but just like little snippets of it. So I was like, I want to draw these scenarios, but they don't happen till way later in the story or still in the very beginning of working on the comic. And I can't get to these scenes fast enough, but I don't want to just rush the story or anything, because the story I really care about as well. I love the characters and I love the story, so I need to treat both of them with respect and let it unfold and not rush it. So doing this spread was kind of my outlet for those feelings of like, hey, this is taking a while to get to certain scenes and I'm really excited for them. But yeah, it's kind of like when you're excited to write certain scenes and certain dialogue, there's this notion that you should just write it anyways, and eventually when you do get to it, it'll feel good that you had that moment to write out that scenario or that dialogue, even though the rest of the novel or the rest of the script isn't there yet. So I've allowed myself to take out my phone or take out my pocket notebook and just write down little scenes that I'm daydreaming about. But I know I'm not going to get to that point in the script writing or in the comic itself just yet, but it's there. I have the idea and I have the dialogue, and then slowly as I build myself up to that, then it happens and it's amazing. So yeah, this is that, and I've enjoyed working on this comic, and this illustration was so much fun. Okay, so I want to kind of go into Procreate and look at the actual drawing, zoom in a little bit, and maybe yap about these characters a bit, because they mean a lot to me, and they're kind of my comfort characters right now. I'm hoping I can do more of the other characters and, you know, not just Adonis and Nora. I have so much of them, and if you've looked at any of my other videos, all of my time-lapse diaries have had Adonis and Nora. They've all been Adonis and Nora. So this is the third one of them. Okay, so the comic is set in like a fantasy world, kind of roughly based around the very late 16th century. Trying to imagine a world where like magic exists and supernatural creatures exist. That is sort of the fuel or the motivation around this world, but I mean, I don't think I'm going to do a lot of it justice. So I'm kind of focusing more on the elements of the story and not so much the world building or the world itself, but more so on what is happening around characters and trying to rely more on experience and emotion. I think that's the kind of writing I do in general. I really care about characters, and I care a lot about how they grow and they feel and how readers feel. What kind of experiences do I want readers to have? That's always been the way I write. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like, do I focus too much on characters and not enough on plot, not enough on world? Other elements of what makes a story? But yeah, these two are in a slow burn romance, and they knew each other very briefly. They met very briefly when they were kids, ended up meeting each other again as adults, not necessarily under the best circumstances. I mean, I don't know how much I want to yap about the characters per se, because I get really worried about giving too much information or spoiling stuff, because I'm the type of person that wants to get to know characters through the story and through actually engaging with them. But then I want to do other things involving them. I want to do animations, and I want to do little short stories because I just love them so much. So I have other little projects in mind that isn't just the comic. I don't know when the comic will ever be complete. I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to start publishing it again, like uploading it. Here I made a little comic strip, just a little mini one, 3 panels. This is where she's feeding him a raspberry and and then tricks him, because Adonis is kind of shy. I mean, the times where he is in taking any sort of initiative or is more forthcoming or flirty, it's almost like an accident in a way. I don't know how to explain it. See, this is the thing I love about creating characters. I don't know how it happens, but my characters always tend to kind of come alive on their own. And then it's even hard for me as the creator to even explain who they are or like their little personality traits or quirks and stuff, because they even stump me. Adonis, he's got this sort of avoidance around, I guess, love. Just love in general. Doesn't feel comfortable getting too involved with people, too close to people, because he is this knight that has been to war and has lost people he feels very responsible for. I'd say he had a pretty decent childhood until his knighthood. So avoiding just being close with people and trying to not suffer through so much loss anymore is like his coping mechanism. Like, he knows that there's no guarantee of their safety and of their well-being. I keep thinking that like the main elements of my story really revolve around grief and love. I mainly think of it as a dark fantasy. I can't help but have these very romantic, cute, fluffy moments because I am a romantic. I love romance. I always have to have romance. That's just me. So yeah, I think Adonis is a little bit, he's becoming a more complicated character than I could have even anticipated in a way. There's a lot of layers starting to evolve on him that you know, sometimes it's on accident. I'd love to keep talking about them. I want you guys to get to know them little by little, and honestly, I'm even getting to know them little by little. Every single time I go into Obsidian to start either writing the script or writing more on their like mood boards, I get to daydream and I get to put in images of something that relates to them, but then I put in snippets about them. Even though I try to create their background, from their childhood to their present to what's going to happen for them in the future, the second I start going into nitty-gritty details, especially with the script writing, because script writing, it's very linear. It's action and dialogue, and I have to be very aware of the time and like the season, environment and economy and politics and how that is working all within the timeline. So when I get into those details, I'm trying to get in their head, and I realize sometimes that the way I had initially written them and what I had expected them to do, once I get to a scene and suddenly a particular action I wanted them to do, it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. Adonis wouldn't say that, or he wouldn't act like that. Like this doesn't fit for him anymore. So I have to go back to his mood board, or like his character sheet. I have to start thinking about how would he actually behave. Suddenly it's clicking that actually he's going to behave differently than I had even thought. And so that's how it goes. So it's like they're coming to life all on their own, and they're kind of manipulating the story from what I had initially planned. So I think this is why I don't really like doing structures for my comics or for my stories, because they're great as a guide. I have a 3-act structure, but when I go back to look at it, like the master plot of what's supposed to happen, there are some parts where that's changed now. It changed because the characters made it change. The characters are going to behave differently now, or I realize like sometimes even the world itself starts to breathe. It's coming to life on its own, and there's now different elements that are going to impact the story. And although I kind of have a brief idea of the world building and a brief idea of the history of Haven Doom and stuff, sometimes something comes up that will shift the story, even if it's a little bit. Honestly, making stories is really fun and awesome, and also kind of scary because it can be such a chaotic mess, especially if you're just thinking of it in your head all the time. But yeah, I'm really happy with this illustration overall. These little chibi versions of them, so cute. They're just so adorable. I love shy Adonis. But I also love irritated Adonis. Nora is she's very much more, I guess, extroverted and more forthcoming with just her words, her feelings. But I think she's able to she's very observant. She really can read Adonis very well, more than what a lot of people could. So these two, yeah, they end up becoming very compatible, even though they have their rough points. I had this idea of this scene where he's becoming extremely avoidant, very anxious and trying to distance himself from Nora. She's not going to really just let that happen without any explanation, I guess. So this is kind of like her finally getting fed up, confronting him, like, hey, what's the deal? Their thing is very much push and pull. They're good one minute, and then Adonis's fears start to kind of come into play, and then he's pulling away again, and then he comes back, and Nora gets really annoyed by it at some point. So this is kind of a little bit of snippet of a scene that I'm kind of thinking of for them. Not sure if it's gonna go exactly like this or whatever, but it's definitely a scene I've sort of scripted out very vaguely. I'm not even at that point yet. That's like not even till the second arc. I do imagine that when I'm structuring out my comic, each arc is like 10 to 15 episodes long. So I'd want to finish the story eventually. I don't want to abandon it. So I do kind of have an outline of each arc is 10 to 15 episodes long, and I have 10 arcs or 11 arcs. The maths. I don't want to have to spend so much time and energy on too many episodes, right? I should have a set amount of episodes for the entire story and try to be within that limit. And if I have to kill off some darlings, then I have to do that. I have to cut out some scenes, I gotta do that. Because I know at some point I might start getting bored of this story, unfortunately. I mean, that's what happened with 𝒸𝒽𝓂𝓅𝓉𝓄𝓅. I don't know. Making a comic, it has a lot of moving parts, and it's very tedious. and very time consuming. I guess this is my way of trying to keep the momentum alive somehow with it and just keep drawing my characters, keep writing them and daydreaming about them, because eventually I will get back to the comic. And I want to be able to continue enjoying it even if I'm still working on it like 2 or 3 years down the road, which I'm sure I will, because this comic is so it's becoming really massive. The more I keep writing specifics, I know how the story ends and everything, but I'm working on getting from A to Z, trying to structure out the scripts so I can get back to working on the actual comic. So right now, just drawing them like this, seeing them like this, making little tiny comics for them like this is really fun, and it's helping me to keep some of the spark alive for this story. I love them so much. This was let's look at how long this even took me, because it took a long time, dude, I swear. So 25 hours is what it tracked. I don't know how it tracks that. I see it's also tracking the amount of strokes I made, which is 29,000. It's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't want to know that. 25 hours to finish this thing. It is really massive. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'd like to do more of these. That would be great, but I don't want to be taking 25 hours to complete it. This would be fun to do for commissions too, if I had the guts to do this for commissions. Like this I would have to find a way to do them faster or something. Or, I don't know, I think maybe it has to do with just getting used to it, because like I said, I did this coming back from a slump, and I, was just taking my time when I was just enjoying doing it, and so I wasn't tracking my time or trying to finish this like really quickly. I was experimenting too with some of the line art, and I even started doing this with my comic. Anytime I do work on my comic now, I can tell there's a difference with my line art now, because I really like to get more depth with some of the intersections here, I like more variety now and even more details. I was experimenting here with line art. It was really, really fun, and I'm enjoying doing my line art like this now. I don't even know how this happened. Why did I start doing it this way? But I think that's just a symptom of like not drawing for a while and not being influenced, I guess, by other artists and social media and stuff, because I wasn't on there for a while. And once I was feeling the urge, I was having literal withdrawal from not drawing, then that's how I just came and did this, and I was just having fun with it and just being playful with it. I mean, we can look at the sketch too. I mean, the sketch is a little bit more detailed than what I even normally do. Like, this could have been the line art, honestly. If I would have just cleaned it up a bit, it could have already had been done, which goes to show, because I know this part of myself, where I would do a sketch and I'd be too lazy to do the line art, so I would just clean up the sketch. But that became a thing because of working on comics so much. I got tired of trying to do every single step in a comic, where I do a rough sketch, and then I do a sketch, and then I do the line art. That's too many steps. So I would just immediately go into the sketch, and then I would just clean it up, make it look like line art, but it's still really just the sketch for me, because then that helped to work on comics a little bit faster. That became a thing because of comics. But this, obviously, I did a detailed sketch, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do line art. And I did. I redrew everything, did the detailed line art, and played around with the line art. So that goes to show that I was thoroughly just enjoying working on this piece, doing something different than what I had been doing, before I took that break. I loved it. I love hands. I love hands. These hands turned out really nice. Don't really like how this one turned out for Nora here. It kind of, I don't know, looks a little bit weird, but anyways, that's all I really have to say about this illustration, and just kind of, thoughts I had around this and my stories. And, I really rambled a lot, but I appreciate if you're still listening, still watching. Do let me know if you are an artist or a writer, or you want to do comics, or you do comics, or, if you're just here to hang out. That's cool too. Yeah, give me your thoughts. And you know, do your characters come to life like this? Do you have any difficulties around making comics or making stories? It's something I'd like to talk more about, but on one hand I don't feel like I'm very qualified because I'm really winging it a lot of the time. So with that being said, I will see you on the other side. Cheers.